and our next guest's name came up once or twice. His ears may have been burning a little bit when Hines Ward had this to say about former Chargers and Patriots safety Rodney Harrison.
I have a story with Rodney, though. You know, he was playing in San Diego, and I had the chance. I cracked back on Rodney, and I laid him out pretty good. His chin strap was up in his eyes. And when I hit him, he's like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, 86. He didn't even know my name. He's like, yeah, he shook it off. That's what I'm talking about. Keep bringing that pain. I'm looking up in the back of the huddle. I'm like, man, that dude's crazy. I know he's going to try to kill me. So ever since, we always had our battles. And then when he went to New England, you know, he broke his forearm, but he had his cast was made out of steel. And literally, he would choke me and club me. I'm like, Ref, he's got a piece of metal in that cast or something. So I'm trying to rat him out or whatever, you know. So we've always had our battles. So it's just great now that we can, you know, have our own little stories. And we both were named dirtiest players. But we've always had our battles on the field.
Joining us now to provide his version of those events and anything else he wants to get into, Rodney Harrison of Football Night in America. Are those stories, Rodney, are they true, partially true, or completely false?
No, they're completely true. And the thing about it, Mike, you look at Hines Ward, he said the key phrase, he cracked back on me. It's not like he hit me directly in my face, and that's what Hines been known for. But I tell you, man, he was a tremendous competitor. I looked at him and I said, wow, this is the way you last in the National Football League, having that aggressive style and not being afraid. We saw the knockouts of the Ray Lewis and the Ed Reed's hits and those type of things. But that's what Hines brings, and you respect a guy like that he'll hit you in the back, but he'll hit you in the front too.
Is Hines the guy who played on offense the way that you, Rodney Harrison, played on defense?
Yeah, he's crazy. I mean, I spend time with him now, and he's crazy. It's like he gets off on hitting you. It's like, you know, the harder he hits you, the more excited he becomes, or the harder you hit him, he becomes even more excited. And I've never seen a frown really on his face. He's always playing with a sense of just happiness, enjoyment, and a smile on his face. And, you know, and that's what you appreciate about Hines, man.
Who in the league now, Rodney, plays like you did and like Hines did?
Who in the league plays like me? I think Palomalu plays like that. I mean, everyone praises Palomalu for, you know, he's an exceptional player. But Troy is a dirty player, which I love. Dirty within the rules. I mean, he's not your friend. He'll knock you in the mouth. He'll shove a forearm down your throat. He'll push you while he's getting up. He's a religious dude, and everybody knows that. He says his little prayer, does his little prayer after every hit. But he's a very dirty player, which I love because he's the best in the game. If he can stay healthy, I mean, he shouldn't have no problem staying healthy this year. And he should be in the Hall of Fame in the future, Mike.
But, Rodney, is dirty within the rules clean, or is it dirty?
Well, to me, it's not called dirty. It's called playing football, especially if you're doing it within the whistle. It's not like it's going past the whistle. I think you just have to play football. Football is down dirty sport. You know, when I look at the guy across from me, you're trying to take food out of my mouth. You're trying to embarrass me. You're trying to hurt me. I'm trying to do the same exact thing to you. It's either you or me, and I'm going to win.
Now, yesterday in Patriots camp, and we're visiting with former Patriot and former Charger Rodney Harrison of Football Night in America, Tom Brady went down. Everyone was nervous and scared, and for about an hour and a half, nobody knew what was going on. And it has led to a discussion today because Tom Brady, by all appearances, is fine, but there must have been some Jets, Dolphins, and Bills fans, and maybe some Broncos fans, we have one here in Fritzy, who were kind of quietly rooting for Tom Brady to be injured. Is that appropriate for players, for fans, to root when a guy goes down that he's not going to be back?
Yeah, Fritzy is a bum. First of all, you don't root for somebody to get injured. I mean, if the Miami Dolphins, the Buffalo Bills, if they want to see how good they really are, why don't you beat the best while they're at their best? And, you know, regardless of what happened to the Patriots, they've lost some key players, but you don't want to beat the Patriots or win the title with a quarterback going down. That's just me. A lot of those teams, they're probably excited because they say, wow, this is our final opportunity to beat Tom Brady. He's getting a little older. If he goes down with a knee injury, how long, you never know how long it's going to take back, and that's a different football team without Tom Brady, because I would hate to see Mallett or Tebow lead that team and try to lead that team into the playoffs. I don't think they have much of a chance to. They'll still win the division, even with Mallett. I still believe that, because you look across the board, Cobb, he acts like he doesn't want to play football anymore. Manuel, he's young, and the Sanchez whole situation, that situation is a mess. Really no stability, and even Tannehill, he doesn't look like he knows what he's doing out there on the football field. So I'll still take the Patriots and Mallet, even if Tom Brady goes down. But there's no reason why people should root for somebody to get hurt. These guys work so hard, and they try to stay in shape. You want to see football played at its best, and I think that's with the key players.
And Fritzy?
So Mr. Cheap Shot over here, it's okay to actually be the one to injure people, but we as the fans can't root for someone to maybe miss a couple of days.
Fritzy. Boom.
If Fritzy,
I never rooted for Tom Brady or anyone to get hurt. But
if you're so big, bag, and tough, why don't you put on some shoulder pads? I'm sure we can arrange for you to get in somebody's training camp. I'll take Tom Brady over you any day.
Rodney coming to studio. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Rodney versus Fritzy entering the octagon. Rodney, we have this issue now with a player who was injured but who is getting healthy. Rodney, talk about Robert Griffin III. If you're on the field with him and you know he's got that twice torn ACL, does that become an area of the body that has a target on it for defensive players?
Of course, if he runs the ball, he's a terrific talent. But, I've always been taught if you're on the field, I don't care if you're on the same team or if you're on a different team. The coaches always tell you, if you're on that field, you don't have any injuries. And players will look at that and they will target that. If I know that RG3, if it's a difference between, and this is not me trying to purposely hurt him, but I'm going to attack that weak spot and the best player on the football field. So if I know that his right knee is hurting, guess what? I'm not going after that left leg. I'm going after that right knee.
Hines Ward yesterday said that he would always take a close look at the injury report to see where those weak spots were. You've told me before that you used to do the same thing. Would you rather have that information completely secret so no one knows what's injured on you, but you also don't know what's injured on anyone else?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't understand why, the NFL requires teams to let out that information. I think it really gives, teams an unfair advantage when you know what's hurting on them. I think it's that team's own individual business and let that team get their players healthy. I think it shouldn't be known to the public what's hurting on that player or to even what extent that player is hurting. So I don't really agree with that rule, disclosing all the different injuries, but it's something that the league made up. But if I know, like I said, Mike, if I know that a guy, I'll take a look across the board and say, okay, this guy's hurting, or this receiver, his shoulder's banged up. I'm going to give him a couple licks up top to let him know, don't come across that middle.
Talking to Rodney Harrison of Football Night in America, and the topic of concussions and players hiding concussions continues to percolate. Clinton Portis became one of the latest former NFL players, to sue the NFL, but he admitted he played with concussions. Guys try to play with concussions. Do you believe that players are still trying to get on the field when they're concussed, and what do they do to try to fool the trainers so they can play when they may have a brain injury?
Well, I think players do. That's all part of our nature, part of our DNA, and the way you get paid, the way you stay on the field is you have to actually physically be out there. And the more you get concussions, because once you get one, they're reoccurring. You're gonna get another one. You're gonna get another one. And what happens is these teams and these doctors will say, "Oh, we want to make sure you're taken care of." No, you want to document it so the player won't eventually sue you. And then eventually, if you get too many of them, you're going to get blackballed out the league, and you're not going to have an opportunity to catch on with another team. So players know this. They want to play because they got the big contracts, they got big salaries, and they want to be able to make that money to take care of their families. But that's all part of it. I'm one of these guys. Listen, I've suffered from concussion-like symptoms too, but I have to be an idiot not to realize that playing football, hitting 235, 240-pound running backs, having helmet-to-helmet hits and shots and just playing this physical sport, that I'm not going to suffer some long-term effects. Is the NFL directly responsible for me? That's just one of those tricky situations, because no matter to what degree our head gets hurt, the majority of players still want to go out there and play football because they love it, because they want to make that money, and they want to ensure their future.
Even, Rodney, with any symptoms you may have now, would you still have done it all over again?
No question about it, Mike. No question about it. With Fritz being on the front line.
He'll bring his Elway jersey on the day that you show up. It'll be just like the old days back in the AFC West. Rodney brings his 37 Chargers. Fritzy has his Elway number 7, and we can go at it. Look, the Broncos are one of the teams everybody's looking at this year, and there's a short list of teams we assume are going to be good. Is there a team out there that's maybe off radar a little bit, Rodney, that you think could make a run and surprise people?
You're talking an AFC or the NFC?
Either conference.
I think people are still overlooking Green Bay, the Green Bay Packers. I still think, Aaron Rodgers one of two best quarterbacks in this league. I think with an improved running game, I think that defense can't get any worse, especially as far as stopping the run. I think this is a team that no one's really paying attention to. We all fall in love with San Francisco and Seattle because you look at them, it's like they're mirrored teams. They're very similar, but I think Green Bay is a team that's really flying under the radar. I think, too, people still, they're not giving Atlanta their just due. Atlanta's a really good team. They've lost some offensive linemen, but they have so much weaponry, and I think this is the time. Matt Ryan, he's gotten that big contract. I think he's comfortable now. I think he's at a point where now he's ready to take that next step, and I think this is a team. They got a great coach in Mike Smith. I think this is a team that can really be a good team and get people's respect. And even, you look at how far they went last year, people still don't respect the Atlanta Falcons.
But does either team, the Packers or the Falcons, have the defense to win in January? The Packers were shredded by the 49ers, and the Falcons blew double-digit leads in consecutive weeks.
Yeah, I think if I had to put my money on it, I would have to say the Falcons. I think the Falcons will be much improved. They got, young cornerbacks. I think they have a solid linebacking core, and I really think they have a tandem of safeties that are really good. 2 Pro Bowlers last year. I think this defense can be much improved with OC. I think he generates some pressure, and people really don't give OC the credit. He can stop the run. I played against OC. He is very capable still in the run game. I know he makes that a priority, but I think the Atlanta Falcons could be a team in December that you really have to look out for.
Larry Fitzgerald of the Cardinals was on the program last month, Rodney, and he said that the hardest he was ever hit during his career was by you. Do you remember applying that big hit to Larry Fitzgerald?
I think we played him out in Arizona. I think he was, a rookie or something like that. And, I liked him because he played with a lot of energy. He played, he just always trying to chase me down the field, trying to block me. I'm like, come on, Rook. Leave me alone. It's like a gnat bothering me. But I don't remember the specific hit because, I just look at it as like, that's just one guy amongst many that I set after to try to set the tone. But definitely one of the top receivers in the game, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he and Carson Palmer can do out in Arizona this year.
Well, Rodney, I'm looking forward to seeing you out in Denver. We'll be there in 3 weeks for the opening game, Ravens-Broncos. Always appreciate your time. And don't hit me when we're out in Denver, even if we're in the vicinity of the field. I'm on record. I do not want to get hit by Rodney Harrison.
Well, I won't hit you until Fritzy stop being a player hater.
All right, Rodney.
All right.
That's Rodney Harrison. Great guy.